Asia's biggest film festival, the Busan International Film Festival, closes its curtains after 10 days of glitz and glamour. Let's look back on the 28th edition with Pierce Conran this morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Sure. You know, this year's edition is noticeably, I have to say, smaller in terms of scale, but the festival itself was pretty eventful. Would you have to say that?
Absolutely. I just got back yesterday. I was there for 8 days. It was great to be back. It was exciting as usual. It's true that because of the troubles that the festival has experienced this year, well-documented troubles, there was a sense that the festival was slightly downsized this year, more that there were slightly fewer screenings. They invited marginally fewer films. But there were just as many people there. I mean, people were very excited to be there, and that kind of led to a problem where there were slightly fewer screenings, but just as many excited fans and industry people, industry professionals, which meant that we were all fighting for slightly fewer seats, and so there were a few people that were left disappointed. I certainly wasn't able to get into a couple of screenings, but there were some shows that were, incredibly popular, like Yorgos Lanthimos' new film, Poor Things, also the documentary about the late K-pop star Sully called Dear Jilly, and those were very hard to get into. I myself got into Poor Things, luckily in the end, for the third screening, so I was very happy about that.
Nice.
But there were also no shortage of big names. Lots of big people at the festival. Song Kang-ho was kind of the host of the festival. You had Stephen Yeun and John Cho there. You had people like Fan Bingbing. It still felt like a very, very big event.
That's good. Now, then what would you have to say the highlight was at the 28th edition?
Well, I think that ever since a few years ago in 2021, they opened a new program, which is called On Screen, which focuses on streaming series. And this reflects, of course, a big sea change within the industry as a whole. And this event has gotten much bigger. And so this year, I think that was very big. And so you had Netflix was, of course, a big presence this year. They didn't have a new drama this year, but they did have an Indonesian series called Cigarette Girl. They had a lot of very big movies. They had the local films, Ballerina and Believer 2, and also the upcoming documentary Yellow Door 90s Lo-Fi Film Club, which actually focuses on the cinephile group that director Bong Joon-ho of Parasite fame was a member of 30 years ago. The film chronicles their time together and also how he made his first stop-motion short, Looking for Paradise. Highly recommended film. Very exciting screening. But there were lots of big local dramas that were very, very exciting. Disney had their show Vigilante with Nam Ji-hyuk, which opens next month. That was a great revenge action series. I was particularly impressed by the lineup from the local streaming service TVing, which included the show LTNS, which stands for Long Time No Sex, about a sexless couple who end up kind of becoming blackmail scam artists. A wonderful black comedy starring Isom and An Jae-hong. I also really liked the series A Very Bloody Day, a story of a taxi driver taking up a serial killer's affair, and it's a very exciting thriller.
That's a very good list of movies to watch. Now, it has to be pointed out, Pierce, that this year's BIFF was not as big or glamorous compared to the ones we've had so far, and that because of those administrative woes and the budget issues. Now, walk us through those struggles.
Yes, so back in May, the festival director position was split into two by the festival chairman, and the industry was quite upset by that when someone called Cho Jong-guk was hired as the managing director. The industry threatened to boycott, and the existing festival director, Ho Moon-young, stepped down. And soon after he resigned, he was hit by sexual harassment allegations. And then after that, the festival chairman, so the big boss, Lee Yong-kwan, tendered his resignation, which will take effect after the close of today's closing ceremony. So the very, very messy lead up to this year's edition, huge amount of staffing reshuffles.
Right. Now, there are so many film festivals, small and big here in Korea, but also abroad. But why is it important that the BIFF has to overcome these issues and continues to thrive? I mean, what makes BIFF special or exceptional?
Well, ever since its launch as the first major international film event in Korea back in 1996, BIFF has always been the biggest film event in Korea, and before long it even came to be viewed as the main film event in Asia. It's often dubbed in the press as the Cannes of Asia. It's of course an incredibly important platform for Korean films. Lee Chang-dong, was presented Peppermint Candy there in 1999. That's what made him an international name. But it's also very important for talents across Asia. There's all these incubation labs that are associated with the festival. There's the program. There are the support programs and funds. There's the Asian Project Market. There's the Asian Film Academy. So it's a really hugely important incubation site. And it's also a show of solidarity for the industry as a whole. People gather together for the festival every year, and and Korean film industry kind of carries on. But BIFF has been very resilient. They've had many scandals in the past, but they have ultimately been able to weather them all. And I, for one, don't think it's going away anytime soon, and I'm very excited to be back next year for their 29th edition.
Definitely. I mean, it has gone through so many struggles and bumpy road, but still the fact that it managed to stay just as glamorous and eventful just speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
All right, Pierce, thank you so much for your time this morning. You enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, you as well.